I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who gave me advice and shared your perspectives. After a lot of thought, soul-searching, and discussions with people I trust, I've finally made a decision, one that I believe will benefit both my kids and me in the long run. Instead of making a rash decision to leave immediately or staying in a toxic environment indefinitely, I've decided to separate from my husband while setting up a solid co-parenting plan to protect the kids. When I first told my husband I wanted to separate, he blew up. He was furious, yelling about how ridiculous I was being for overreacting to something he considered a small comment. He couldn't believe I would even think about breaking up our family over something that wasn't a big deal. He called me ungrateful and accused me of not appreciating how well he provides for us. In his mind, being a good provider meant he was a good father and husband, and that should have been enough. After that initial outburst, he went quiet and thoughtful for a while. I think he was in disbelief, struggling to process that I was serious about leaving. He started asking if I was really going to destroy our family over politics, and if there was any way I could let it go. He genuinely didn't seem to understand how deep this issue went, how it wasn't just about one comment, but about the example he was setting for our children, particularly for our daughter, who had already begun internalizing the idea that women were somehow weaker. He also didn't realize that it wasn't just this one moment, it was years of small, insidious behaviors that were finally adding up. When it finally dawned on him that I wasn't going to change my mind, he accepted it, reluctantly. But what I realized through all of this is that his self-worth is entirely wrapped up in how well he provides for our family, not in how well he parents. He sees his role as the breadwinner and assumes that's all that matters. When I pointed out that being a present father and setting the right example was just as important, he looked almost confused, like the thought had never occurred to him. What I'm doing to protect the kids. I've set up therapy for the kids and myself. I've started taking both of my children to a therapist who specializes in family dynamics and helps children process divorce and separation. The therapist will give them a safe space to express their feelings and help them understand that their dad's views don't define their worth. I've also scheduled sessions for myself, so I can stay strong and navigate this process in the healthiest way possible. This has already made a difference, as my daughter is opening up about how much her father's comments upset her, and my son is starting to question what he hears from his dad. I'm documenting everything for a peaceful separation. I've consulted a lawyer to protect myself and the kids. We are working on a separation agreement that prioritizes the well-being of our children. I've outlined clear expectations for shared custody, with specific rules about respectful behavior and the kind of environment the kids need while they're with their father. I'm determined to ensure that if my husband chooses to pass along his outdated ideas, I'll have a legal framework to push back on anything harmful to the kids. If he doesn't agree to these terms, I'm prepared to fight for full custody. I've started setting boundaries with my husband. After talking with my lawyer, I had a frank discussion with my husband. I told him that while I respect his right to his opinions, I refuse to let him raise our children to believe women are inferior or incapable. I explained that his words were damaging not only to me but to our daughter, and that I can't let that go unchecked. He was defensive, of course, but I made it clear that if we're going to co-parent, we need to raise our kids in a way that allows them to form their own opinions, free from sexism. He agreed, reluctantly, to tone down the rhetoric around them, but we'll see if he follows through. If he doesn't, I now have legal support in place. I'm focusing on empowering my children by teaching them what equality looks like through my own actions. I'm taking on more leadership roles at work and around the community, showing my daughter that women are more than capable of handling responsibilities outside the home. I'm also involving both kids in decision-making around the house, so they see that a family functions best when both men and women contribute equally, no matter the task. I've come to terms with the fact that this marriage isn't working for me anymore. His attitudes, his refusal to listen, and his narrow-mindedness have pushed me to realize I deserve better, for myself and my children. I've started focusing on self-care and exploring new hobbies and interests that make me feel fulfilled and independent. I'm slowly building a life for myself that doesn't revolve around just keeping the peace at home. I feel like I've finally found a middle ground. By separating and creating a strong co-parenting structure, I'm protecting my kids from the worst influences while still giving them the opportunity to maintain a relationship with their father. At the same time, I'm giving myself the space I need to heal and move forward without being weighed down by his damaging views. It's going to be a long journey, but I feel confident I've made the best decision for my family. I'm no longer questioning if I'm in the wrong. Instead, I'm focusing on moving forward, building a healthier environment for my children, and finding happiness in my own life. Thank you again for all the support and guidance.